Hi everyone, it's Jerusha. Today is Tuesday, May 9th, 2017, and my dreadlocks are 10 months old. So I wanted to talk to you today about why I chose to make my own human hair dreadlock extensions to extend my natural dreadlocks permanently. It's called permanent extensions. So in the past few weeks, I have some other videos about the way I made the dreadlocks and showing you the hair I used, the various kinds of hair I used to make those extensions and attach them. So I'm going to link below to those videos for you for your convenience. So I don't have a lot of that hair left to show you right now. I'm going to talk about the decisions making process that I went into. So to make my own versus purchase dreadlock extensions that were already made from Human Hair on like Etsy, for instance. I think that's the main one that I would think of. And so the options that I had when I looked on Etsy were to let them know how long, and they ended up being mostly in the too long range according to what I wanted. But you can cut them down and things like that. Also, they tended to be like they wanted to know for a set that they make for you. They wanted to know how wide, how thick by millimeters you would want it. And I have dreadlocks that are very, very, very different widths, which I know doesn't have to be perfect, but I didn't want to worry about like measuring each one, and then they sell them either by individually, and then you can pay for as many as you want, or you can buy them in like sets. Like maybe some sets might be for 30 and then for like 40 or 60. And they would have ranged upwards, definitely upwards of $200 and more for a full set. And I wasn't sure exactly how many of my dreads I was going to extend, but I believe I did not want to do the front. So I didn't want to do the back. Hadn't counted at that point how many it was going to be. So I believe it would have been well over $250 to buy them. And then I would have had to worry about measuring the width and maybe like asking. They're also made to order. Most of the ones on Etsy are made to order, meaning it would take a while. I'm not patient with that process. So some of the hair was that they were selling. They were actually selling these handmade human dreadlock extensions from other countries. I didn't really want to worry about shipping process and things and communication and that kind of thing. So I was having a hard time with the decision making of which shop from Etsy to buy from. Also, I'd had a person in the dreadlock making stylist industry here in Portland tell me that they hadn't had good luck getting good quality dreads from Etsy. I mean, in general, it's not like Etsy's something wrong. There's lots of different sellers on there, so you can't really generalize that. But they had said that the quality wasn't great. And to me, the pictures, a lot of them did not look very mature. They looked pretty, kind of like this way that people back home, and then they like do this crocheting where it looks like it's wrapped around the whole outside. When I crochet for tightness, I don't do it that way. And so it looks more mature when I do it. So there were some decision-making issues I was having. One thing I really did consider in purchasing from Etsy is that there was one, at least, I believe just one, shop that was selling dreadlocks that had been actually grown on the person's head, and they cut them off, and they were pretty long. They were like longer than from here to here. They were like longer than 16 inches. And so they had these dreadlocks for like more than a year on their head. They had naturally ginger colored hair, which is a word that they use sometimes for naturally redhead. So I was really considering purchasing that set. It was going to be at least 30, I believe, at least 30 dreadlocks. They had dyed some of the ends greenish, and they had also tied knots in some of them. There was a knot in it. You know, people do different things with their dreadlocks when they're wearing them. There were things incorporated into some of them. So I didn't believe I was going to use all of those. That was the most reasonably priced. That was a nice set from an actual person who had probably consented to having their dreadlocks cut off, and natural redhead. So that was kind of cool because my hair is natural, not naturally, but we're dyeing it on the red side. I don't know, it's like maybe $145. That was way cheaper for that amount of hair. And it was cool because it was like already matured on a real person's head, which I thought was pretty cool as well. So I was tempted by that, but in the end, I ended up deciding to make my own dreadlock extensions from Human Hair that I bought at one of the stores here in Portland, not Sally's Beauty Supply, by the way. It's a different one. It's a local chain, I believe, and they sell lots of different hair. So I asked for like sort of lower quality hair that would be more likely to dread, so not like treated to be tangle free if at all possible. And I think I was calling it non-Remy hair, which you can look that up and look at what that means. So I also kind of wanted to do it myself. I wanted to produce them myself. I wanted to make them like per dreadlock, made to order, per like the width. Debbie at the Dreadlock Salon in Portland here, when I talked to her way back in July, I saw she had some extensions, dreadlock extensions hanging up there. And I asked her about them, and she said that they were, her son had made them. He's an adult. I'm not sure. I had never met him, but she said he had made them for her. But when someone comes in to get extensions put into their dreadlocks, their natural dreadlocks, so natural human hair dreadlock extensions, that she has to have her son come in and sort of make them to order because to fit the width of the person's dreads. So that seems kind of involved, and I would rather do that myself, even if it takes like 2 weeks, which it only did take 2 weeks, by the way. So it was pretty cool, and that was another reason that I chose to make them myself. The craft of it, not feeling sure about what was on Etsy and the options there. And it ended up being a really good choice. I was able to make a lot of changes. I was able to like mature them a little bit myself by soaking them in warm salt water, sea salt water. That worked a lot. And then I would like hang it up overnight to dry, and they would get really tight. And while they were still damp, I could roll them, palm roll them, and they would get really nice and tight. So that was really cool. And now my dreads have been washed, my extension hair and all of my dreads on my head, since I installed them on my head within the last 2 weeks, they have been washed about 3 or 4 times. And they've also been dyed like maybe 2 times with permanent hair dye. So now it's kind of like a darker brown, because I needed to kind of match it with my actual hair that was like more dense and more brown, no matter if I dyed it with the reddish or not. Here is a picture of my hair before I dyed it with the brown. This is with the extensions in, and you can see here that some of my, you can see where I attached the extensions. They had been dyed reddish with my upper hair. Up here is this is my natural hair, and this is the extensions. They had been dyed together, but they still didn't take, the extension hair did not take the dye the same way that the rest of my hair, my natural hair did. This is when I was using this. So then I dyed the hair, like specifically the extensions, with this. Mainly, I use the serum packet that's in here as well to help it to saturate and not maybe be so hard on the hair, because that's what the serum packet in here is for, is to mix with the color too, and the accelerator, I believe, activator lotion, like it's like a liquid, white liquid. Well, when you are dyeing your ends, not your roots, but the rest of your hair, your ends, you're supposed to mix in some of the serum packet into it when you're dyeing it. I don't usually do that when I'm dyeing it on my head, because it is harder to wash out, because it makes the whole mixture a little more like saturating and more liquidy, which I find that I like this product the best for dyeing my dreads because it is not liquidy and it doesn't saturate all the way through your dreads, because I don't want to dye the inside of my dreads. I just want to dye the outside and coat the outside and then get it to wash out. So it's a lot faster to wash out, rinse out with without using the serum packet. Now, when I was dyeing in the sink, I was dyeing the extensions and the extension hair that I would use to like attach the extensions. When I did that dyeing process, I also followed with, because this company does say to, after you finish rinsing out all of the hair color, then, and the, water is running clean, then you should shampoo your hair. Okay, a lot of dyes, permanent dyes, do not tell you to shampoo your hair right after, but this one does. And then I use the conditioner tube. Because I realized after the first time I dyed the extensions, which I did not use enough of this, I used more of this, with those extensions in the sink. When I did that, it got more, well, here's one example. This is how it got. It basically started to dread up itself. This is dyed twice. This is once with more of the reddish, and then this is second time with, more of the brownish mixed in. So this is actually the hair that I use to make the dread extensions, to dread them. I use this, and you see it's like sewn together up here. This is part of a weft. This is enough to make probably 2 different dreadlock extensions, possibly, potentially, depending on the width I would have wanted it to be. And I also tighten it with a crochet hook. But I was actually going to use this potentially to, because I had already made all the extensions I wanted to make, I was going to use this to maybe wrap around, make it, to attach extensions or repair them if they needed to be. But I didn't use, the conditioner, tube that comes with all hair colors, permanent hair colors, dyes. I didn't use the conditioner tube with it. And this is what happened. I didn't like rub it or scrub it or anything to make this happen when I dyed the hair. Just happened by rinsing it out, just straight down, just rinsing it really well to like just keep it in line. Well, this is what happened. So I decided to use the conditioner, and it worked really well. In fact, it was the perfect choice. So once I get it into my hair and like using it to like wrap around and attach the extensions, the conditioner aspect of it that was in there wasn't too bad, enough to like, keep it from incorporating into my dreads. So that's where I'm at here with this. I want to tell you the reason why, because on my 10-month dreadlock update, I didn't go into the reasons why I chose to make my own dreadlock extensions instead of buying them myself, instead of buying them and then maybe putting them in myself. So I'm going to show you the back of my hair now. And this is pretty much the length of my hair before I had my dreadlocks. My hair was down to the middle of my back, just like it is here. So it feels pretty good for me. It's so far lightweight, but that will probably change. I'm trying not to put too many products in there, and also trying not to dense it up too quickly. It is kind of hard because I really like maintaining my dreads. It's an enjoyable process. So I realized that I'm a high maintenance type dreadlocker. I'm accepting that. It's part of my personality. It's not anything to like judge people for not being high maintenance dreadlock maintainers at all. It's more just like, this is my own personal way I like to do things. So I think that's everything. Hope you're all doing well. My dreadlocks are 10 months old. So they're going to be a year old on July 9th, 2017, because I got them on July 9th, 2016. And they were started by the back combing method and a little bit of crocheting by Debbie at the salon, Dreadlock Salon in Portland, Oregon. Highly recommend going to a salon to get it done because the sectioning is humongous in terms of ongoing, like, you know, the putting the stuff in, putting your dreadlocks in the proper sections and putting it in the right size sections based on how dense your hair is those places. It's really good to have a professional do it. I really don't understand how people do it themselves. Now, if you had a friend that was really good and like detail oriented, I could see that, like, I would love to make dreadlocks for someone, for them, myself. But it would take probably at least 12 hours. And so the, I believe, like, the dreadlocks will be easier to maintain from the roots, and yeah, easier to maintain if they have really good sectioning. And that is something that's a judgment call based on your scalp, and it's not always just based on what you like it to look like, because your scalp may not be, or your hair density and your texture may not be cut out for whatever you envision that you would like as far as the specific thicknesses and how many dreads you want. But you do have choices in there. And then the other thing is the products that you use on your hair, from shampoo that you use on your hair to how often you shampoo your hair, how often you get it wet without using shampoo, and also the types of tightening products that you might use on your hair. Really, I believe, has a lot to do with how long it takes to mature and how tight they are in a certain length of time. I'm not saying that that's everything, because I do believe it has a lot to do with individual people, their lifestyle, and also their hair texture is probably huge. But my hair texture is straight, shiny, and fine. Fine meaning small diameter of each hair shaft. So, and it's finer on the sides than it is in the back, but still, it's always been fine hair that tended to just like lay flat if I didn't have it layered. So fine hair that's straight and shiny, I would not have thought would dread really very fast, but it has. I attribute it a lot to my Dollylocks products. Well, I think that the shampoo has helped it not only dread up and tighten up, but also has helped it to stay moisturized and healthy. I haven't noticed any waxy buildup. I saw a review of the shampoo by somebody in the UK. She had a British accent, and I was really disappointed. She said that there was a lot of white stuff in her hair, even though she rinsed it out really well. I'm not sure why. She used the liquid also. So, well, and the sea salt, and not just plain old sea salt, but the vitamins and oils that Dollylocks mixes in with our tightening sprays and their tightening gels, those I believe are very good for your hair. They're not just tightening your hair up by mixing up sea salt with boiling water and then like dissolving it, but it's also balancing it pH wise, and it's also not drying your hair out so much that, you know, it's not going to last very long. That's what I have to say. Take care, you guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this little special topic of why I chose to make my own extensions instead of buy them was helpful to you. All right, take care. Bye-bye.